Hi, Capricorn. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for July of 2021. We are the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kale Miller in Berkeley, California.
And I'm Julia Mijas in San Francisco.
Well, Capricorn, if Juno's relationship retrospection period is getting you down and bringing up a lot for you, then a lifelong love reading is the reading to get for answers. You can find a link to that in the YouTube description below, and I'll say a little bit more about it very shortly. But first, I want to say that there are a lot of reasons to enjoy this July. It's a lot more relaxing of a vibe than it was last month in June. There are a couple of reasons for this. One is that Mercury is not retrograde anymore, it's direct, and that is wonderfully relaxing. Secondly, the two moons this month have all harmony and no stress, which is great. And thirdly, Juno might be retrograde still, but it's not all up in it with those moons. In other words, those moons are not adding stress to Juno retrograde. So we should be able to finish out Juno retrograde with some smoothness as a result. And in your case, Juno retrograde is happening in your 12th house. It would not at all be surprising if in the last 2 months, you've kind of pulled inside yourself and away from your partner into a place of solitude and are asking yourself some really deep questions about, what does this relationship mean? Why am I in it? Why is my partner in it? And can we grow, or can I only grow alone? And while that sounds kind of sad and lonely, and it might feel that way, it doesn't have to turn out badly. I think it is a good time to take stock. And this is a really good time to do it. Your relationship can absolutely come out stronger. You can find out more about Juno retrograde in the video that we made about it in our June 2021 news playlist on our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology. So Julia, what do you have to say about Mercury, Venus, and Mars for the Capricorns of the world?
Ooh, I got some stuff to say for sure, Capricorn. So Mercury, that's the planet that just finished up its retrograde cycle. It's direct, it's moving a little slowly, but it's we're still reverberating a little bit from the past month's retrograde cycle, but it's basically over. All this is happening in your 6th house. That's the house of work. It's also the house of health. Another meaning of the 6th house is it can also be the house of organization as well. So, this is a good time right now to kind of tie up any loose ends in any of your organizational systems, which may have been run crazy last month during the retrograde cycle. It's also a wonderful time if you do anything at work, which it might be Mercury related. So that could include things like teaching, buying, selling, all types of sales, writing, speaking. Those are all Mercury related things. Very, very fruitful period. And then on July 11th, Mercury moves into your 7th house. This is the house of partnership. It's also the house of contractors. So this is a much better time for signing contracts now, so because it's also in the 7th house, also hiring a consultant too, whether that's a lawyer, a doctor, a counselor. And you also might get your best ideas from bouncing them off another person, such as a romantic partner in your life, or any other sort of person you feel very partnered with. Then Venus, the planet of art, beauty, and relationships, starts the month in your 8th house. This is a deeply intimate place. It can represent one's psychology, shared resources like money you share with the people closest to you, or banks as well, like loans, mortgages, inheritances, stocks. So if you're in a relationship, you guys might feel like you're bonding a lot more deeper. Things are a lot more intense, whether that's psychological merging, sexual merging, also financial merging as well. Since the 8th house also represents psychology, if you're in therapy now, you could be having some really great insights, some really, really good breakthroughs. So that's really lovely. Then Venus on the 21st this month moves into your 9th house. This is the house of education. It's the house of travel, a wonderful, wonderful time period to plan a nice little pleasure trip for yourself. Then Mars, that planet of action and activity, is going to spend the majority of the month in your 8th house too. So we got a little bit of Venus and Mars energy at the same time. So with Mars in the 8th house, there is some chance of conflict over shared money as well. Maybe some fights at home over how to kind of pool your resources together. And Mars is also a planet, like wherever we have it is where we put a lot of our activity. So in the 8th house, you could be really drawn to sort of researching, drawn to sort of mysteries, drawn onto taboos as well. So that's another way this could play out. And then the very final days of the month, July 29th, it moves into your 9th house, bringing that Mars energy into your education and travel plans. And we'll cover that in a lot more depth next month, where most of the cycle will be taking place.
Yep. Well, I've got a couple of moons to tell you about and some other stuff too. Here we have a new moon in Cancer happening on July 9th in your 7th house. We're calling this one random kindness because the moon in Cancer is just overflowing with the milk of human kindness. And this moon is very, very harmonious. There are only harmonious aspects to it. And in your 7th house, this suggests that you could plant seeds, another sort of a key word or key idea that we use for new moons because they have to do with beginnings. You could plant seeds of random kindness in your relationship and watch them grow into, wonderful flowering and fruiting good deeds in the future between you and your partner. Then the next thing that comes is Chiron is going retrograde. Chiron is here in your 4th house, the house of home and family, domestic life, heritage, and roots. Chiron is the wounded healer, and it's been traveling through this house for some years already, but you might really notice it when it turns retrograde. That's happening on the 15th. And Chiron tends to bring up old wounds to the surface so that they can be healed. It can feel like a wounding moment is happening in the present, but if you look at it more deeply, you can see that it has its roots in the past and that you can heal that old stuff, sometimes forever. So that could be a wonderful opportunity. We've got a video about Chiron transits and how to handle them in our July 2021 news playlist. Then the next thing I want to tell you about is the other moon this month. And here we can see that the moon is going to be in Aquarius opposite the sun in Leo. The sun having very recently moved into Leo, the beginning of Leo season, which is a season of warmth and generosity and expansion and play and creativity, a wonderfully enjoyable season, which shines the spotlight into your 8th house of sharing, which Julia was talking about. It covers shared finances. It also covers sexuality, which is the sharing of bodies, and the sharing of emotions too. And so when the sun comes into this house, you might find that you want to take a look at some of those, more hidden aspects of life in the light of day. And then under the full moon, with the moon occupying your 2nd house, you may feel that you're really nurtured by a sense of security. And that if you can have some conversations with your partner, as Mercury is saying is a good idea to do, there in your 7th house, like Julia said, you can have some conversations with your partner that leave you feeling physically and financially secure, while also delving into some of the depths in your relationship. That would be a really great way to spend this full moon. We're calling it, what did we name it? Community support. So you might even want to involve some friends to help you have some of those deep conversations with your partner. That's the moon in Aquarius for you. So yeah, that's what we have for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. You can always find our horoscopes here on our YouTube channel. Please do share them widely with your friends and relatives. And you can also find them on our website, pandoraastrology.com, along with our services page with all the readings that we do and classes as well. And until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye.
Bye-bye.